You know what that just opened up is the next conversation is you guys get to sit down and talk about this conversation of risk and the three different components of risk. We don't dive into this enough and help people understand this enough. Again, as an industry.
No, because it's about more, Matthew.
More. Sure, until we don't need any more.
No, it's not about needing more. I want more.
We could always want more until we don't anymore.
Right.
And that's the shift.
And then what happens?
And then we need to figure out what's next.
Right.
Hey, welcome into the Whole Wealth Journey.
What's that?
It's our podcast. Come on, it's podcast day.
It's podcast day.
I love being here in studio with you when we are here to discover wealth with a Y. What is wealth with a Y, brother?
Wealth with a Y is about being intentional with your money and helping you see what are the values that mean the most to you, what are the people that mean the most to you, what are the places that mean the most to you, and aligning your money for that mission.
Awesome. That's what we're here to do. So who are we?
Oh, yeah. Jim Gebhardt.
And Matthew Grishman. We are the co-creators of this podcast, The Whole Wealth Journey. Who's it for? Who should be listening today?
It is for those entrepreneurs that are out there that have these thriving businesses and they have plenty of money and they're trying to figure out, I'd like to do something with my money than just collect more money.
Awesome. Well, let's go. I have some gratitude today.
Okay, fantastic. I'm all ears.
The Grishman family has officially produced the next great Grishman entrepreneur. There is a new entrepreneur in the Grishman tribe, and his name is Hank Grishman.
Well, welcome to the club.
Hank Grishman has officially incorporated Grishman and Associates.
Wow.
In the great state of New York.
Wes Gebhardt would be so proud with Gebhardt and Associates.
Right? There's Gebhardt and Associates. There's now Grishman and Associates.
How about it?
At 79 and a half years old, my father has entered the world of the entrepreneur. Holy cow.
That is awesome.
It is awesome. And there's so much opportunity. I have a little bit of positive focus with this gratitude because
I'm thinking SEPs and Simples and Unicorp 401ks and defined benefit plans and all kinds of stuff.
Big fat defined benefit plan.
Like you need that at 79.
Right now. Exactly. Let's defer some taxes, Hank, because, why not? I love the positive focus opportunity here of what I look forward to. As a school superintendent, he's been mostly responsible for managing half of a balance sheet.
The goes-ins.
No, the goes-outs.
The goes-outs.
Right?
Sure.
How he spends it.
Sorry.
The goes-ins, he's,
somewhat scripted.
I was going to say, you know what? I need to change that. He has been responsible for both sides of the balance sheet. In fact, the goes-ins might be part of his unique ability that I kind of had a sense, and I'm just realizing it now. He is the only superintendent in the state of New York who has never lost a school budget vote. Now, this might be a foreign concept to our California tribe members who are listening right now who don't remember life in California pre-Prop 13. In the state of New York, every school district votes on its own school budget because if that budget passes, there's a direct financial implication to your property taxes. Because the bulk of your property taxes go to your local school district.
They don't have measures like we have in California?
They do not have measures.
And what the hell is a measure?
A measure.
I listen
measure
to people
one?
say, Measure D. Measure. I'm like, what in the heck is that?
It's more money.
I'm going to go, why don't I go have some almonds while I'm at it?
Exactly. It's the school district trying to raise the money they actually need because the state of California has done such an awful job of managing the money that they have on the goes-ins from our taxes that schools just don't get nearly what they need to educate our children.
So that's quite a beyond Hall of Fame. That's GOAT status.
So every year, Hank proposes a budget with his Board of Education to the public in the district. This is how much money we want to raise to do A, B, C, X, Y, and Z. Hank is 47 for 47. That's pretty good.
That's a wee bit beyond pretty good.
I think where I'm excited.
That's undefeated in sports terminology.
It is
just
undefeated.
To help you with that. I know you're not really a sports guy.
Well, I'm not. But I'm getting there. If he were sitting right here, I don't know if he could tell you why that happens or how that happens, other than, well, come on, I'm Hank Grishman. They love me, right? Which I appreciate because I got a little of that. But to actually spend some time with him now and have the time and the space to figure out exactly what it is, what is going on there that allows you to be 47 for 47 when no other superintendent in the history of state of New York has been able to go undefeated like that in getting every single school budget to pass, getting all the dollars you need?
Well, I'm going to go out on a limb and suggest it has something to do with connection and communication.
It might. It very much might. It's something
There's a
in that
level
world of unique
connection.
ability.
There's something in the connection column and something in the communication column that builds the third word that is kind of paramount to all of that, which is consensus.
Yeah. That seems to be what he's gotten 47 out of 47 times.
I'd say so. Well,
Wow.
that will be, as Jim Kelly would have said, that will not be a small conversation.
Well, what do you and I love more than perhaps our families and our people? What do we love more than helping a budding entrepreneur explore their unique ability to figure out what's next? I can't think of anything in business I enjoy doing more than that. And now I get to do it with my dad.
Oh, my
maybe,
gosh.
if he lets me.
I was going to say, maybe if he lets me. He did call me earlier today, but I'll call him back later.
Did he?
No. I'm just
well, they're coming out in a couple days for a
busting
visit.
your
I thought
chops.
maybe he did.
I'm busting your chops.
Well, I'd be honored if he called you and started
That would
this
be
journey,
lovely.
right?
That'd be lovely.
What are you grateful for today?
I have no idea. No.
That's fine.
That's a wrap.
There we go. Let's just rip today. Do we even have to look at the script? Can
Well,
we
I
just
think
go?
we should. I think we should. We
At
got a
some
couple.
point,
We got a couple
some
of good
important things to talk
Yeah.
about.
You know, in that column of connection,
Yeah.
I'm going to use. I have a lot of gratitude today, but the one that's bubbling up is a conversation I had last week with a very long-time client, and 25 years or maybe more, and it came as a result of a deposit that he made into one of his accounts that I've just kind of been going along with it. It has to do with a particular exit strategy called an ESOP, which is where you sell the business to the employees. Well, like I said, I've known this gentleman a long time. I've known his business partner for most of that time, but not very well, and some other ancillary members of the family. And I've really not had much interest in engaging much because of some of these ancillary members of the family. Just not my cup of tea, just not how I roll.
Well, you're not all things to all people anymore.
No. And then I found out, so he makes this deposit, and not a huge communicator, certainly very short phone calls, very short, one sentence kind of email kind of guy. And I was like, hey, Tommy, saw that deposit, would love to just get together with you and sit down and hear the vision, hear the game plan. Fires right back. That'd be great. How about next Thursday? Boom. Wow, we're off to the races. Next Thursday, sit down.
Quick start. Love it.
Hey, by the way, my partner, I cashed him out. I own the business 100%.
Nice.
Really? So the circus is leaving town? Oh, yeah. That's all done. All done. I own 100%. Huh. Tell me more about the ESOP.
Employee stock option plan?
Ownership plan.
Yeah.
And so we sat there for like an hour and 20 minutes.
Wow.
And went deep on a variety of subjects relative to the business, relative to family, relative to finances, and I said, it really sounds to me, Tommy, like we should do some planning. Not just the financial planning, but also the personal planning on what you're going to do after this little thing that you've been running for 30 years is finite.
Did you share any statistics with him about what happens to many
No,
after
but
that?
I was going to on the show today. That led to, I think the wife and I should really come in and sit down with you guys and do some planning. And after I got myself back up off of the floor and got back in the chair.
Right.
Because, we've really never gone anywhere in this conversation in the past. And now it's just like whoosh, like just now he can't do it fast enough, right? Because the nature of an ESOP transaction is it's going to take a few years. It's not a 2024, 2025 item.
What entrepreneur have you ever met that doesn't see the vision of the future and wants to pause and take his time going through with it and doesn't want it done yesterday? That's part of how we're wired.
Yeah.
We see it and I want it now because now I can't unsee it.
Now I can't unsee it. And the challenge is for most business owners, they don't spend the time on the planning.
Sure.
Either getting the business ready, getting themselves ready, or getting their personal finances ready. So that's what it's a long gratitude, but that's what I'm grateful for, is that we're off to the races with a guy that I've had a tremendous amount of respect with. Don't really know him super well, but my goodness, that hour and a half conversation really kind of took things to a much different level. And now I'm super excited to have him get to know you and vice versa, and help him start to, look at that exit with a whole different degree of confidence.
Sure.
Because as I shared with him, and he's an incredible businessman, but he has a little bit of a tendency to go off and do things a little bit on his own without much communication. And I shared with him, I said, okay, look, an ESOP is not something you do in isolation. It is an orchestrated, well-planned strategy. And you don't just go off willy-nilly and, make deposits and sell shares back to the ESOP trust and to really maximize the benefit of this. And okay, so let's take an off-ramp here and just talk very briefly about the benefit of an ESOP transaction to a business owner.
How did he come to the conclusion that the best exit strategy was an employee stock option purchase plan?
Was not involved in any of that, which is kind of exactly what I'm talking about. Like at some point, I'll take some.
What's the why behind it?
I'll take some accountability in terms of not being in touch with him enough on that. But again, it was a little bit of a I'm just leaving. I got a sleeping dog over here that.
And you're not going to chase somebody who for 25 years has been somewhat elusive and not wanting to, and that's okay.
Yeah, there's asterisks to the conversation that I was equally culpable.
Aren't there always?
So the nature of an ESOP.
Way on your part.
Thank you.
Attaboy.
Thank you, Dr. Phil. An ESOP transaction has a lot of pluses to it. One of the big pluses to the ownership that is looking to sell is there is a way to defer your capital gains tax on the transaction for your lifetime. And it gets into something.
Assuming it a little bit over time, or deferring it completely?
You can. And this is, we could and will do an entire episode on ESOPs.
Okay.
But there's a way with what's called 1042 qualified replacement property to be able to take the proceeds from the sale of the business, invest them in certain securities, and as long as those securities are not transacted or matured during your lifetime, you therefore defer till your death or the death of your partner, your spouse, and then you get step up in basis.
I assume by securities you're not talking about NVIDIA or Tesla stock.
Most certainly I am.
Oh.
Now they have to. There's a whole measurement
So it can be
tool.
Individual stock.
It can. You just can't trade it. But you can trade it under unique provisions to this.
Nice.
You can take margin loans against what are called floating rate notes, and I'm going way down the rabbit hole of the technical mumbo jumbo here. But suffice it to say, it is a powerful strategy for the employer in the sense that they can defer the capital gains tax on the transaction.
Yeah.
It becomes an incredibly powerful tool for the employee because now they have ownership in this business.
Yep.
That, again, we'll do a whole show on this. I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole on that. But one of the most unique things that Tommy shared with me is he said from a recruiting standpoint, he's brought on 3 critical hires in the last year as a result of being an employee-owned business. Because these were all very talented players that if Ty goes to the runner and your offer and Bob's offer and Sam's offer are all the same, but one's an employee-owned business and that key hire can have some skin in the growth and the success of that business, that's where he's been able to pick up 3 really critical hires that he thinks at the end of the day he would not have been able to do had he not gone down the ESOP route.
Well, because really, dude, in that case, there's no tie. You know that in baseball, that's
an axiomatic something or other.
Yeah, that's kind of like the over-the-back call in basketball that doesn't really exist. There's no foul for coming over the back. It's if you make contact. But I mean, Dikembe Mutombo, God rest his soul, was brilliant at being able to reach over the little guard and take the basketball away from him.
It helps to be 7 foot, whatever.
That's what I'm saying. But he never got called for an over the back for that. We used to, and it's the same in baseball with, tie goes to the runner. There never is a tie. Physics don't allow the tie, and that's why instant replay now makes it clear that someone got there first. And in this case with Tommy, he's kind of beating out all the runners by having ownership capability in his recruiting calls. That's
good point. Yep.
No tie there, baby. That's an obvious winner to me.
Yeah.
Way to go. Well,
lots of gratitude.
That ties beautifully into what we've been talking about, what we're going to continue to talk about as we're kind of rolling out the Whole Wealth Journey curriculum, what we do when we work with an entrepreneur like Tommy to be able to fully prepare for that transaction, for the ESOP, right? This idea of you guys sitting down and having some conversation about what's next, what does life look like, and helping Tommy and his partner prepare for this transaction. I mean, what was the statistic you shared an episode or two ago?
I got lots of them, but I got a new one.
A new one?
I got a new one.
The regret statistic?
No. Well, there's that one. Sure, we'll bring that back up.
Sure.
But by the end of 2024,
okay,
all baby boomers will be 60 and older.
Wow.
All baby boomers will be between the ages of 60 and 80.
Right.
And the majority...
That makes sense. The youngest boomer hits 60. Right.
And the majority of business owners in the United States, doesn't matter in the industry, are north of 60.
Right. Even though some of them don't start their business till almost 80.
That's he's in a whole new category.
Right.
There's all kinds of data. I've been enjoying something called through the Exit Planning Institute, there's a document that they do called the Business Ownership Readiness Survey.
Okay.
And you know me and reading and data, and I like to munch this stuff for lunch.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really interesting how that's where the statistic that, the regret statistic comes from.
Which is
the fact that 75% of business owners regret the transaction 1 year after the sale of the business.
Why is that, Jim?
Oh, well, thank you, Bob. It's because they didn't do the personal planning.
Right. It has nothing to do with the transaction.
Maybe not the financial planning, maybe not the business readiness part, but it really, at the end of the day, is the lack of personal planning on what the heck they're going to do that's going to be fulfilling and purpose-driven. And as you and I well know, and it's littered all over our website, is wealth with a Y. That Y really stands for purpose. Right? And you've got to have your feet hit the floor in the morning post-transaction with a purpose on things that you're going to want to do. And, okay, sure, you're going to go build your dream house and fill in the blank. Colorado, Carmel, Kentucky,
Montana.
Connecticut, Montana. Build two of them in Montana,
sure.
Why don't you?
Yeah. We don't know anybody who's done that.
Then what?
Right. Then what are you going to do in retirement?
Then what?
Right.
So this whole concept of having a successful business and successfully navigating the minefield of exiting that business successfully and with fulfillment is a three-legged stool that takes a hell of a lot of planning.
A continually sustaining source of fulfillment, not something that's like building a house, I'm done, and now what?
Now what?
There has to be something ongoing that when your feet hit the floor every day, within the project of building the house, there is fulfillment that continues beyond that project.
Sure. Maybe your kids are entrepreneurs. I mean, the coaching group that I'm in with Dan Sullivan's team, our coach is an incredible guy by the name of Chad Johnson up in the great state of Oregon. He has 11 children. And last I knew...
Makes you look like a rookie in that department.
I'm warming up. Most of them, if not all of them, are entrepreneurs in some form or fashion. Right? So after the sale of his business, sure, he's got other businesses that he's invested in and interested in and putting energy in, but now he can actually help and get passionate about supporting his other little budding entrepreneurs in the family. I mean, I could totally dream and fantasize about that in my own life down the road.
Sure.
But you have to have a purpose. And too often, when that leg of the stool is either missing or hasn't been very well developed in the way of a written game plan, and you need a written game plan in the business side of it with the goals and the aspirations and what you're looking to do in terms of a sale down the road, and obviously a written financial plan, which we've been in the business of for 178 years.
Yep.
That missing piece in the middle, what we would call what's next.
Yes.
Right? That life 3.0 planning that we talk about.
Yes.
That's what's got to happen. And it can't be some loosely little, well, I'm going to work out and, I like to play a little bit of golf, Matthew. So I'm going to golf and I'm going to work out.
Cool. And what else are you going to do? And what are you going to do?
I'll go to the grocery store with my wife.
Sure. if you've been here for the last couple episodes, we've kind of modeled a little bit of how we start having that conversation. We do things like take a little bit of an inventory, right? Unpack your story. Where are you today? That's where we kind of start with the conversation of figuring out where we are today. Then we go through defining your story a little bit and start seeing where you want to go, especially using our favorite tool, the Clarity Compass. And that's where a lot of that work begins. We can't know what Life 3.0 looks like until we understand what you value at a core human necessity. This center of the bullseye, this is why I get out of bed every day.
Okay, I have a question.
Sure.
Do you know anyone that has ever taken a vacation without knowing where they're going? Like, I'm sure you hear people that are like, I'm going to pack the bags and I'm going to go to the airport and we're going to walk down the aisle and we're going to get on whatever flight strikes our fancy. But do you know anybody that's ever done that?
I know one person who has done it in his car.
Got in the car and just started driving in a direction.
Yes. And he's someone we talked about 2 episodes ago, I think. Our shaving ounces guy.
Okay.
Cousin David.
Yeah, well, he's a bit unique.
Well,
he would be in the who's the outlier guy?
Malcolm Gladwell?
In the Malcolm Gladwell study of life, he would be the outlier that is chopped off at the end of the graph.
Oh, yeah. He's not a statistic that counts in anything that's created for humanity.
So in your lifetime, my lifetime, our parents' lifetimes,
he might be the only one.
We've taken vacations with intention, right?
Yes.
We are going somewhere.
Yes.
We know that the vacation is to a place.
Now I know where you're going with this.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Take a little more caffeine. You'll catch up.
We're trying.
But the stats are ridiculous on how many, the amount of time people spend planning their summer vacation relative to actually their retirement.
Right.
Right. And
meaning they spend a lot more time doing that, planning a vacation, than they do their retirement.
Right.
And that's just Wall Street looking at the financial side of it.
Yes.
Not looking at the what are you going to do?
Yeah. So you built this business, right? What is the bellwether stereotypical boomer, right? It's those SOBs that created the 60 to 70 hour work week.
Right.
Right? So you mean to tell me the majority of the business owners in the United States that are now over the age of 60 that are officially categorized as a boomer.
The inventors of workaholism, you mean?
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
They're now just going to go
stop,
right off into the sunset like in a Western. It's a huge void in the planning conversations. And fortunately for us, that's the work we love to do.
Yeah.
That's where we feel as though we are the best in the business and being able to add value, but it's not the value that we're adding. That's the benefit. It's the clarity for somebody to realize what's missing in this. Okay, bags of money, check. Cool. And we're going to live here, check. Okay, now what?
Yep.
And getting clear on what those values are that drive them, and then the exercises behind that then helps bring to the surface the actions and the intentions that are going to start to get them in motion on a path that's going to be much more purposeful.
If we've got anybody else in the business listening in today, any of our peers who've decided to join the tribe and listen in on to some of the things we're doing, my partner said it really well. We've gotten really, really good at that conversation, the conversation that goes way beyond the money. And after nearly 30 years each here of hanging around the industry and watching how the sea of sameness has grown and evolved, it really hasn't. So I'm going to put a suggestion out there to our industry, to people in the business. You want to really add some major value to this incredible group of entrepreneurs who invented the concept of workaholism? Help them figure out what's next. Help them figure out how they're going to use their time, because all the work you've put into helping them manage their money, helping them save it, helping them grow it, helping them accumulate it, helping them deal with inflation with it, all of that great work we've done as an industry to protect the dollar is going to mean nothing
without the purpose,
without something to attach it
without
to.
the fulfillment.
Yep, absolutely. Without an engine to drive it.
Well, I guess we've got some work to do.
We do. There's financial work that needs to happen as we help somebody build this blueprint for what's next. But it's not the biggest, hardest part of the job. And we're going to talk about it today. And we're going to talk about it in terms of, now that we've kind of set some foundational work the last couple of episodes on unpacking the story and starting to move forward on what is the story going to start looking like as we look at Life 3.0, there is some building of the blueprint that requires some money work, some lifting in the money category.
Let's go.
Let's go.
I'm ready.
We've just spent all this time talking about all these important things with time and what's next, and now we're going to go back into talking about some of the money stuff.
Absolutely, because here we sit in an election year. As we've said on the show many times, as we've talked about with our clients many times, the level of risk, the amount of risk that people are feeling on the planet perhaps has never been higher.
Yeah.
And the risk conversation, while it's not necessarily purpose-driven, it's very important, because at the end of the day, in order to be able to go, focus on your purpose, you need to have your financial house in order.
Yep.
If you're going to have your financial house in order, and it's our experience with most of the business owners, entrepreneurs, whatever you want to call them, they're already taking extraordinary amounts of risk with the business. And quite often, last Friday in our conference room, I was having a conversation with a business owner that takes extraordinary risk every day, and let alone all the stress and the strain that comes with the work. But when it comes to the money that he safeguards with us, it's pretty boring.
Yeah.
It's pretty, relative to the spicy stuff he's doing at work every day, we're like the best vanilla ice cream you've ever had.
How much do entrepreneurs, in your experience, appreciate having control as much as possible over their choices and ideally outcomes? Although we know we don't have a lot of control over outcomes. You and I have explored that, and we'll continue to explore that. But entrepreneurs, how often do you come across an entrepreneur who wants to control as much as they possibly can of their own actions, their own attitudes, their own behaviors,
all of
their
them.
own choices? All of them. All of them.
All of them.
So in financial planning land, when it comes to our money, how much of that do we actually have control over versus stuff we don't have control over?
Oh.
You see where I'm going with this?
I do now.
And this is where I think the money conversation, albeit something 400 some odd thousand people who are licensed like us are having, I think this is where you and I have the money conversation in a little bit of a unique way.
Sure.
A little different.
Sure.
In that we are looking at the fact that there are really only three things we have control over when it comes to our finances. And you just teed up probably one of the most important ones, which is risk. The amount of risk we take as business owners is massive.
Yeah. Just ask them on the 1st and the 15th of every month.
Yeah. What happens on the 1st and 15th of every month?
I get paid.
Oh, how does that happen?
Because I paid me. I paid myself. I paid my employees, right? It's really not. The 15th is a big payroll number too for many businesses, but usually it's the 1st, because then you got the rent, you got the health care, and you got the bup. So you've gone down this path of betting on yourself forever.
Yes.
And
you don't know any different.
You don't know any different. And consequently, the natural blind spot is to just continue to double down and triple down on yourself,
yes,
on your thoughts, on your beliefs, and invest in the same regard. And we have tools in our tool bag that help us kind of measure the appetite for risk that is both at the client level as well as at the portfolio level. And then, and you're going to say this much nicer than I am, what the plan requires. And generally, that's 3 different numbers.
Sure.
3 different temperatures.
Sure.
And generally, the plan is in the middle, because the entrepreneur wants to be in the left lane zooming. Or we had a client a couple weeks ago whose portfolio really wasn't in the left lane, but it was in the middle lane going a good 75. And they didn't even really want to be in the right lane on the freeway. They wanted to be on a surface street going like 40.
Walking. They wanted to walk. They didn't even want to be driving.
And, their plan was actually okay with that.
Yeah.
So you're going to say it much nicer than I am when it comes to these controllables.
Sure. Risk is one of those things we do have control over. And I love when you and I get into a conversation with an entrepreneur who doesn't know anything but risk, 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 risk. I'm thinking of one of the most recent entrepreneurs you and I met.
Yeah.
We met him on a rooftop.
Yeah.
And one of the first questions he asked me was, so if
just to be clear, It was a rooftop lounge.
Right.
We weren't hopping building to building like Superman.
Oh, like I kind of felt that way.
Rooftop to rooftop. Like we're in Mary Poppins and
leaping
we're
a single bound.
Exactly.
I like that. One of the first questions he asked me was if I were to invest, and he gave me a specific sum, and it was a large sum of money, but if I were to invest a sum of money with you, how much are you going to make me? And I looked at him, and I will say this to every entrepreneur we have this conversation with, that's not the right question to ask me. I might have been a little more aggressive and said that's a pretty stupid question, but I wasn't doing that in a judgmental way. It's just not the right question to ask.
It's the tired question to ask.
It's the
industry standard question to ask.
As he has shared with me since, he has said to me since, I was testing you.
Right.
I'm like, sure you were. I was testing you. Because the right question to ask is, if I give you a certain sum of money, how are you going to protect it for me and make sure it's there to support me when I'm starting to figure out what's next down the road? Right? But most entrepreneurs...
That would be an elevated conversation.
They're not wired to think that way. So my response to him in that question of how much are you going to make me, and sharing with him this is the wrong question to be asking. Well, why is this the wrong question to be asking? Well, what's your business worth? The current business that you own, what's it worth these days?
A lot.
I don't know, north of $100 million? Right. And did somebody give that business to you, or did you create that? Well, do I look like somebody who stands on third base and thinks he hit a triple? I hit that triple. I'm like, you damn well, yes, you did. And that's why I have so much respect for you. You're really good at creating wealth. You don't need my help with that. And that seems to be most of the entrepreneurs you and I meet.
Right.
They're really good at creating wealth.
Right.
They don't need our help with it.
No, not creating it.
No. They might need, in the very early stages, some help with just, getting the anchor off the bottom to get started. But once they get going, that's their talent. That's their ability. They've got a set of you-know-whats, and they go kill it. Where they need our help is understanding that as they create the wealth, there is risk that wealth is exposed to, and it's our job to manage that risk so that wealth can be there to support them as they begin designing what's next in life, that life 3.0. Because without that wealth being stable, being there, you really don't have the foundation or the basis to create life 3.0 and the generational wealth and legacy that I know most entrepreneurs want to see come to fruition within their children, their grandchildren, their great-grandchildren. They want it to continue. They want it to go on. They're building something much bigger than just to serve themselves. At least the entrepreneurs we like to hang out with.
Oh, yeah. I mean, last Friday in our conference room in the Lafayette office, sitting with a longtime client, 45-year-old entrepreneur, has had some partial liquidity events in different businesses that he's involved in. And the conversation came down to, so what would make you feel better in terms of this cash? I mean, do you have other businesses you want to invest it in? Do you want to do some premium vanilla ice cream? What are you thinking? And he's like, well, that's why I'm here. I can't do that. I can't see what you can see. I'm like, okay.
So he wants suggestions on what to do.
Yeah. I mean, this is a very smart, very hardworking guy who could easily figure this stuff out on his own.
Mm-hmm.
But he was looking for what I would call prudent recommendations on what to do with this money.
Sure.
And we put it in some really very intentional, very purposeful, boring stuff.
Sure.
Because he's about 10 years from wanting to, hit the exit. And a lot of it went into municipal bonds, California tax-exempt municipal bonds.
Sounds exciting to me.
To his tax bracket's going to be pushing almost 7%,
Yeah.
right? Double tax-free.
Yeah.
Some other insurance-related solutions we won't get into because compliance will have a
cow.
a cow. And there was really nothing sexy. There was no, and to his credit, He's like, and I don't want complexity. My life is very complex. The businesses I'm involved in are very complex.
So he doesn't want some inverse, reverse leverage, private equity, hoo-ha with B shares and right.
I want simplicity. And I'm like, well, that's good. You're in the right kitchen because that's what we like to do. We're simplifiers by nature.
Yeah.
Most of our clients live in very complex businesses. Their lives have a lot of complexity. And when we get together with them, it's very transparent in terms of what we do, right? It's all on schwab.com and you can go see it all.
Sure.
And I was really struck with how he left the conversation feeling so much better. And we were doing what we do. We were doing vanilla ice cream. We weren't doing anything exotic or sexy because he's already doing that.
Right. There's a certain amount of wealth that's created that I think you and I have been very good at encouraging our entrepreneurs to recognize that their most valuable investment for creating wealth is investing in themselves. Most of them come to us intuitively understanding that already. You and I have been supportive in reinforcing that. And then as they get a little bit older and a little bit more success and they're starting to create more wealth with their ability to invest in themselves, it's you and I educating that entrepreneur on now how does this money serve you for what's next? And that's what opens up a fresh kind of conversation about what risk is really all about.
Well,
they see it with a new set of lenses when they realize that this isn't necessarily capital that I'm going to continue to speculate and invest in myself. This is capital that I need to support my very basic needs, wants, wishes.
Well, and also for a lot of business owners, that liquidity, right? Because most of their wealth is tied up in the business.
Right.
And when they start to have some liquidity, either from dividends and distributions from the business and bonuses, or whether it's partial liquidity or they sell something else, a lot of times that liquidity and having that capital available, right?
Yes.
It's not in a retirement account. It's not equity in a home or a building. It's not equity in a business. It's actually in a brokerage account.
And it feels like this. Right? It's just space.
I asked the client Friday.
Yep.
I said, so what would feel great to having just cash in the bank? And he was doodling on a performance report that we gave him, and he was thinking, and I took it away like a school teacher, right? I took his toy away. And he's like, oh, I want that back. I said, no,
you got to answer the question.
Just think about this for a second, and what would feel comfortable having in cash?
Liquid.
And he said a mid 7-figure number. And his wife was like, what? Are you serious?
Mid 7 figures, meaning like $5 million.
Like mid 7 figures.
Yeah.
And she's like, that's disgusting. And he's like, well, no, it's not. He asked me the question. That's what I would feel good about. And I said, okay. And that's a lot of money, right?
Sure. Sounds like there's a little guilt over wealth in there. That could be.
That could be a different
conversation.
Episode.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, is that what you want in actual cash, like in a money market fund earning interest, or that's just what you'd like to have liquid in your trust account? You know, some of it's invested, some of it's cash, some you have cash at the bank at a different institution, blah, blah. He's like, yeah, that's good. I said, great, we're halfway there. And you could see, I mean, it was one of those moments where I wish we had a camera and I could record his physical, you of all people who have taught me so much about physical body language. It was like Frosty in the greenhouse. I mean, he started to like melt into the chair a little bit with relaxation at the thought of being 50% of the way to his goal. Now, that's a goal we've never discussed. That's a goal that we've never talked about. It just kind of came up in conversation as is apt to happen with us.
Yep.
And his demeanor changed. He sat back in his chair. He didn't take a big old sigh, but it was really fun to see.
That's cool. Because you know what that just opened up is the next conversation is you guys get to sit down and talk about this conversation of risk and the 3 different components of risk. We don't dive into this enough and help people understand this enough. Again, as an industry.
No, because it's about more, Matthew.
Well,
more.
Sure, until we don't need any more.
No, it's not about needing more. I want more.
We could always want more. until we don't anymore.
Right.
And that's the shift.
And then what happens?
And then we need to figure out what's next.
Right.
So when it comes to risk, how much risk are you taking? That's one of the very first things we need to measure. How much risk are you actually taking with your money?
A lot.
Well, and
If you're a business owner,
sure,
who has payroll and rent and all the other
Sure.
things on the balance sheet that you got to pay for,
but can we quantify it a little more than a lot?
we can.
And then that's what we have to do. We have to quantify. We have to assign a value, an actual numerical, left brain, quantitative value to how much risk you are actually taking with your financial resources, because you and I have found over time that the amount of risk you are actually taking doesn't necessarily match the amount of risk you want to be taking.
Oh, yeah.
Does it?
Rarely.
Right? And
Rarely. Because more often than not, the client is taking excess risk almost
more than they want.
like 1.5 to 2 times almost consistently.
Yeah, a lot more than they want.
Because we get lulled to sleep with the dreamy, everything goes up. My real estate goes up and my stock portfolio goes up. And, oh, I know, money market pays something now.
Right?
That feels really good too.
Yeah, but that's kind of boring now. I mean, come on, 4 or 5% in money market.
Oh,
when I can make 30% in my stocks.
I know it's boring.
Right.
I know it's boring. But as we've always said, and we have like 74 shows on this, cash is an asset class.
Absolutely.
And cash has a job.
Absolutely.
Okay, so you're making the point that there's the amount of risk that we are taking.
Correct.
What else is there?
There's the amount of risk you want to be taking. And this is where we're kind of flushing out a little bit of a discrepancy between those two key points.
Yeah, but I didn't know I could take less risk.
I can.
I didn't know that was an option.
Well, those wonderfully paying 4 and 5% money markets would represent taking a little less risk.
Yeah,
you and I have talked about buffered ETFs that we use in our practice.
Yes.
That's taking less risk.
Yes.
There's a third risk number that needs to be understood in all of this, because there's the risk we're taking, there's the risk we want to be taking, and then as we start to uncover Life 3.0, what you need, want, and wish for your future, there's the amount of risk you should be taking to get what you want out of life.
To make it all work.
Right. And that isn't necessarily the same number as the risk you want to take or the risk you're actually taking.
Right.
So we've got 3 numbers in the risk world that we need to quantify and assign, and then it's our job to get those damn numbers in alignment and get them to where they need to be.
Yeah, it's Goldilocks theory.
Oh, I love Goldilocks.
Right?
Right? The porridge is just right.
Yeah, find the right one.
Not too hot, not too cold.
Not too cold.
And it's just right. This is super important. Understanding as an entrepreneur. I mean, I've told this story and I'm going to tell it again. When Miles was 4, I threw him on my back and we climbed our first waterfall in Yosemite. We went up Vernal Falls.
How do you climb a waterfall?
Well, you climb the trail next to it. The water's a little hard.
You don't climb the waterfall.
Right. You climb the...
You're on a trail.
You're on a trail next to it.
East, west, north, or south of the waterfall.
Exactly.
Okay, just...
I'm
your compliance officer today.
Thank you. And in this case, I think the trail is actually west of the waterfall, if I'm like... I got the map in my head. So we go up to the top of this. We've got the kids. They're little. We got them on our backs, and we get to the top, and my legs are on fire. The backs of my legs are on fire. I had no idea how I'm getting back down the hill.
Wasn't it late in the day?
It was, and our goal was to actually get to the top. You have Vernal Falls, then you have Nevada Falls, and we wanted to get all the way to the top.
Because there's a Holiday Inn on the top of that?
There is, and a hot chocolate machine, and, I wanted to get to the top for the hot chocolate. But that wasn't happening. My legs were noodles halfway up. I looked at Amy, and I was scared with how we're going to get back down the hill. And
the escalator.
It was her. Well, I was looking for the elevator, but that was out of service. Everything's always broken in Yosemite. It's such a letdown. I mean, you pay so much to get in, and they can't keep the damn park up. Come on, people.
We need a measure for that.
State of California, right? Oh, no, actually, I guess that's the federal government. I can wail on for that one. So my wife, Amy, God bless her, she always, in these moments, she has this unique ability of really remaining calm in crisis situations. And as silly as this little story sounds, in the moment, it was a crisis situation.
Well, yeah, you don't know how you're going to get down.
I don't know how I'm going to get down. And
Nightfall's going to come,
and
then
I'm
you're
responsible.
the bear buffet.
I'm responsible, exactly. And Amy looks at me and says, just slide on your butt. You'll be fine. Oh, I didn't think of that. So I start sliding on my butt, and as my heels are catching these little footholds, I'm realizing that it's not the backs of my legs that are on fire that are helping me get down. It's my quads. It's the front of my legs. Here's the point of the story. The muscles I used to get up were not the same muscles that we were going to use to get down the same mountain.
As many times as you've told that story, and I think I've heard it most than more Americans.
Oh, yes.
It never loses its impact.
It's such an important, it's one of the most important experiences I've had in my life to help me better understand the full financial journey of the entrepreneur, where we are walking up this mountain and in some cases sprinting.
Build and create and build and create.
Build and
invest
build and build, risk and risk and
build.
risk, right? All of that. God, we can do that better when we're here than when we do that virtually. That was so good. We just go. And at some point, as you've always said, we as humans can only see in one direction.
Correct.
We can't see the fact that we're going to get to the summit of that mountain and we're going to need to get back down the other side of the mountain. And we're going to need a whole different set of financial muscles and skills to do it successfully. And
well, there better be a trainer. There better be a retirement trainer, Sherpa.
A retirement Sherpa.
Person.
Ooh.
Advisor.
Can we change our titles to retirement Sherpa?
There you go.
Exit planning Sherpa.
Sure.
Exit Sherpas.
I like trainer. I like.
You want to be a trainer?
I do want to be a trainer.
Yeah.
Not like a circus trainer, animal trainer. But I like the. I want to actually.
Do you want to be a Sherpa trainer?
No. I don't want to be a trainer.
Okay.
I want to be as fit as a trainer.
Oh, there you go.
I would like to be able to wear a muscle shirt like that and actually have the muscles to go along with it. So I don't actually want to be the trainer, but...
Right. You just want to look like the trainer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Come on.
I know. I'm with you.
Come on. We've got 2 trainers at our gym. This one woman who just, it must be hot temperature-wise because she's always wearing just an athletic top. There's no middle.
Right.
And then she's got her workout shorts, her workout leggings on.
Right, because
showing
trainers
off her 42-pack abs, right?
Well, because it's generally hot because they're working out a lot, right?
Yeah. And then the other guys that are the trainers that, their arms are my legs.
Right.
Right? And I don't even know how they can scratch the top of their head because they've got so many muscles they can't even really, bend their arm like that.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about.
Sure.
I covet thee.
And they're as scantily clad as the women that you were describing. And I could see you being that one day.
Sure.
Where you have to hire somebody to wash your hair.
Sure, that'd be great.
That's awesome. Well, I think we've hit the risk button pretty good here. And it just we're trying to build some awareness that this is something we actually have some control over. Right. And that's when we get into this financial preparation. I don't even like saying financial planning. That's so everybody else uses the same term. I like challenging a little bit of that. It's financial preparedness, right? It's preparing for the transaction and not being one of those statistics by recognizing these 3 things that we do have control over. 1, being the amount of risk that we're actually taking based on the amount of risk we should be taking and the amount of risk we want to be taking. So that's the first thing we do have some control over.
Well, it's really fun to have conversations with entrepreneurs and say, would you like to take less risk? And,
wait, I can?
Uh-huh. And that's what's the fun part.
Yeah.
Is
they didn't know it was a possibility.
They didn't really recognize that was an option. And, oh, man, does that change the conversation?
Isn't that the most fun part of our job?
Oh,
when we present an option to a client they never knew was possible and the light turns on?
Yes, it's very, very intoxicating.
There you go, Mr. Sherpa.
Yeah.
Right? Way to turn the light on. So the second thing, there's a second thing that we have some control over. It may not feel like it during an election season, but we actually do have some control over the big dirty T word, taxes. That is one of the places that if we plan properly, I'm going to give you an example, and then we're actually going to push pause. I have a client who I've been playing phone tag with this morning, one of our clients who recently lost her husband. She's about to purchase a house. She has 2 different types of brokerage accounts with us. One is an IRA, an individual retirement account, that is what we would call a tax-qualified account, meaning that it has a wrapper around it that defers the taxation of what happens inside of that account until she takes the money out one day. She has a second account, a non-qualified brokerage account that is subject to what we call capital gains taxes. Every time we buy a security and sell it for a profit, instantly, as soon as we sell the security, she's going to owe capital gains taxes both at the federal level and here in the state of California. So the question we have is, we're about to help her go purchase this house. We need to take some money out of one of these accounts. Which account do we want to take the money out of? And I don't know the answer to that yet because we're yet to have the conversation. But the conversation is, do we want to sell some securities inside of the IRA because we don't know exactly how much money we're going to need yet? And then we're only going to pay taxes when we pull money out of the account? Or do we want to sell something in the non-qualified account, realizing a capital gains tax instead of ordinary income? And would that be better? But again, that happens on the transaction, not when she pulls the money out. So there are tax implications to this decision for this client. The best part is we have some control over how she pays her taxes to realize what's next for her, which is buying this house.
Sure.
So there's some conversation in the world of tax planning. And there's a third thing we have control over. But God, you and I have been going for a while, and I think Amy and Beth would appreciate it if we got out of studio and got home today at some point.
Sure.
So let's.
What's the third one?
Do we share it or do we save it? The third one? Okay, we call it the goes ins and goes outs. But that's all I'm going to say. So the three things that you have control over is number one,
Risk,
number two,
taxes,
and number three,
goes ins and goes outs.
And we're going to talk more about taxes and the goes ins and goes outs when we get back together in studio on the next episode of The Whole Wealth Journey. And with that, brother,
that's a wrap.
Hey, thanks for joining us today on The Whole Wealth Journey. It absolutely means the world to us that you would invest time to spend with us. If you liked what you heard today, like, subscribe, and please leave us a comment. We would love to hear what you thought about today's episode. And better yet, ask us a question, and we'll get back to you. See you next time on The Whole Wealth Journey.
Jim Gebhardt is a registered representative of and securities offered through Brokers International Financial Services, LLC, member SIPC. Jim Gebhardt and Matthew Grishman are investment advisor representatives of Gebhardt Group Incorporated, a registered investment advisor. Brokers International Financial Services, LLC, and Gebhardt Group Incorporated are not affiliated. The opinions in this podcast are for informational purposes only and are not intended to provide specific advice or investment recommendations. To determine which investments or financial advice may be appropriate for you, consult a financial advisor prior to investing. Any reference to market performance is based on historical information, and there is no expressed or implied guarantee of future performance. Opinions expressed on this program do not necessarily reflect those of Brokers International Financial Services, LLC. The topics discussed and opinions given are not intended to address the specific needs of any listener. Gebhardt Group Incorporated does not offer legal or tax advice. Listeners are encouraged to discuss their financial needs with the appropriate professional regarding your individual circumstance.